call our monthly, or it's not a regular one, but our board meeting to order. Each June we have to have an extra board meeting to finalize things for the end of the year, school year. And anyway, we appreciate those of you who come out tonight to be recognized. I know you have probably better options, you're out of school, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's been kind of hot, but we certainly appreciate you being here. I looked over just a few minutes ago, and welcome, Anthony, brother. We're glad to have you. I look, I'm thinking, there's a new face sitting over there. But I will give you some advice coming in for the first. Be careful. You're sitting at a table, you have to watch the guys that you're surrounded by. That's a tough crowd. I mean, you're at one of the toughest tables in the building. I mean, those guys will lead you down maybe the wrong road, but if you feel like you're going down that road, just come and talk to me and I'll help you. But I do want to say something for just a second, if I can. Since Tracy's not here, I'm going to say something. But he's tied up. This meeting has a lot to do with your budget and where you are at the end of the school year and kind of where you're going to start next year. And I've had so many conversations, as all these board members have, with Dr. Gainey, Marty Trotter, our finance officer. And what people don't understand is just what a mess we've been in this year financially, and what some of the cuts that's been forced on us. And these guys have worked really, really hard to find. You've done a great job, and basically people not losing their job and people able to stay at work. And you have school systems right up the road, $42 million in the hole, and somebody's going to have to bail them out, like the commissioners or whoever. I think maybe hit $20 million. We hadn't asked anybody to bail us out. You guys have worked hard to make it happen, and I think one of the things I just found out coming down here this afternoon is we have an issue, and I'm sure Dr. Danny may touch on it later, but below wealth money that we're used to getting, and $2.4 million, and we've pretty much been promised that will be froze, and hopefully we were finished and make things work. But it's not looking too promising right now. Sad thing is, in Raleigh, you have Senate, you have House, and no one seems to agree. They're always out looking for, one wants this, one wants that, but somewhere along the way, the public school system seems to get forgotten. And it's no excuse for the state not to have a budget each year before school starts. They go home, and that's just totally ridiculous. We have to operate on the budget. People at home have to operate on the budget. But yet we trust people in Raleigh, and they don't have a budget. We may be lucky in July or something, for a mini budget to address the 2.4 that we're kind of going to fall short on top of what we already had. I think you guys have found over $3 million savings. That's huge. That is absolutely unreal, and the school system hadn't went to ask anybody for any assistance or loans or anything. But with that being said, I will say our representatives, I'm not going to throw them under the bus. Biggs, Craven, even the lady from Alamance County, they're in a mess too. She's worked really hard. Their school system's kind of like us. They're a victim of the low wealth funding shortfall. And they have tried, and Neil Jackson, they've all tried to speak out. I know Brian Biggs was fighting for us this afternoon, and he was pretty disgusted. And the last comment he said to me when he got off the phone coming down here, he said, "I'm just embarrassed that I've helped chair an education committee when I feel like my own school system in Randolph County just got screwed." And there's a lot of truth to that, but I just want to get that out there that I guess in the end of the day, I'm trying to say thank you guys for everybody in this staff and all for the hard work you've done. I know you get a lot of negative things on Facebook, people throwing remarks and say bad things, but when you can take $3 million and find a way and no one loses a job, that's pretty strong. So anyway, at this time, I'm gonna ask Mr. Burgess if he will lead us in a word of prayer.
I'll follow up with that. All right. Dear Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity to gather here today, and we just pray that you will watch after us, to help us to make the right decisions, Lord. And despite our financial challenges, dear Lord, we do just praise you and thank you that as we come upon our Independence Day, that we are very fortunate to live in the greatest country in the world. We love you, we praise you, and we ask for your guidance and throughout the weeks. In holy name we pray. Amen.
At this time, would everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So at this time, you don't have any comments? Okay. So I need a motion to approve the June 2nd, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're going to move on to the recognitions at this time. I almost said Amber Ward, but Mr. Brinkley will be handling that tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Good evening to you and our board members, Dr. Gainey, and good evening to all our guests. Thank you all for being here. Tonight, Apprenticeship Randolph is Randolph County's premier opportunity for students to get a jump start on professional career in information technology or manufacturing. Apprenticeship Randolph is a program for high school juniors and seniors that begins with a 6-week pre-apprenticeship summer program that consists of RCSS classes and 40 hours per week of on-the-job training, and is a collaboration among Randolph Community College, the Randolph County School System, Asheboro City Schools, URA Charter Academy, and local companies. A special thank you goes to Stacy Miller and Andy Wilson from Randolph Community College for their leadership with the Apprenticeship Randolph program. The Randolph County School System has a total of 13 out of 18 pre-selected apprentices who have been chosen to participate in this program. This evening, we want to recognize these 13 students. Students, as your name is called, if you would, please come forward to receive a Pride in RCSS certificate from our Board of Education, and anyone here in support of these students is welcome to stand. We will get a group picture after all students have come forward to receive their certificate. Logan Albright, Randolph Early College High School, PIM-coded manufacturing. Jacob Link, Randolph Early College High School, Oliveboro Rubber, and I don't think he could be here tonight. Owen Manus, Southwest Randolph High School, Sapona Plastics. Colby Lane Skipper, Yard Lead 612, United Brass Works. Terry T.J. Presnell, Whitmore High School, PIM-coded manufacturing. Charlie Presley, Eastern Randolph High School, United Brass Works. Thomas Coy Watford, Randleman High School, Alum Works. Cheyenne Smith, Trinity High School, Oliver Rubber. Sean Orman, Yari Ridge 612, United Brassworks. Alexander Baker, Groundman High School, United Brassworks. Trevor Hussey, Southwest Randolph High School, Post Consumer Brands. Charles Cam Morris, Southwest Randolph High School, Mohawk, Florida. And Ian Orman, Southwest Randolph High School, Energizer.
There he is. Let me get out of the way so I'm not in the picture. Okay. Slide together, act like you like each other.
Dale, I want to take a moment and congratulate all of you guys for your selection. This is a very rigorous process, as you know. A lot of people don't know, but it's very rigorous, the selection process, different steps you go through. We're really proud of you. I'm very proud of our school system because when this program started, the children of Randolph County School System have taken advantage of this program. We far outpaced the children selected for this program is way high for our school system compared to the other school systems involved and the other children involved in the county. So congratulations. I think this is a great opportunity for you, and I know you'll take advantage of it because I've watched every year during the tryout process and seen the level of character of all the students who've gone through this. So I know you will take advantage of it. Congratulations. This is a big honor. So good luck. Good luck.
It's inflation.
Okay, board members, the 36th Annual National High School Coaches Association High School Nationals took place from March 28th to 30th at the Virginia Beach Sports Center in Virginia Beach, Virginia. This prestigious wrestling tournament is a cornerstone event in the high school wrestling calendar, drawing elite competitors from across the United States and beyond. The 2025 tournament saw nearly 6,000 wrestlers compete, making the largest turnout in the event's history. The top 8 finishers in each weight class earned All-American status, a significant accolade in high school wrestling. The NHSCA High School Nationals continues to be a premier event celebrating the dedication and skill of high school wrestlers nationwide. Jose Flores from Southwestern Randolph High School was named All-American at the 2025 NHSCA High School Nationals. Competing in the 220-pound weight class, Flores secured a 5th place finish, earning him All-American honors. His performance included notable victories. During the span of Jose's high school career, he has been a 4-time state qualifier, a 2-time regional champ, 1-time state champ, 3-time state placer, and now an All-American. This evening, we present Jose Flores with a Pride in RCSS certificate to congratulate him on this significant milestone in his wrestling career.
I told him I was gonna be here, and I was challenging him.
He didn't show.
Well, he didn't show.
Jose is one of the great kids in our school system.
I'm ready. I mean, I'm coming with my loose shirt on and everything. I mean, he's 220, I'm about 260, I mean, 280, 290.
Jose would take it, man. You don't want to tangle with those.
Let's go get the table.
I promise.
Thank God he wasn't here.
Board members, before you go to the agenda, I want to point out 2 things on the consent agenda. Item number 5 and item number 6, under curriculum instruction, we did not get those. We're waiting for those to return to us, the memorandum of understanding. So those 2 items should be removed from tonight's consent agenda. We'll have them back in July because we have to have them approved in July prior to starting the school year, so, and moving forward, so.
Okay, so, Dr. Gainer, information items. So we need to have a motion to the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, up first is Dr. Gainer.
Okay, board members, I have several gifts to share with you tonight.
Before I get into some other items, so the first gift you have, let me get my sheets. First gift you have is to Liberty Elementary School, and on June 16, Jamie Horner sent me an email. She's principal of Liberty Elementary School about a gift given to her school by Connie Pugh from Cutting Up Hair and Salon in Liberty. Amount was $100, and the school had flexibility for determining its use. I accepted this gift on June 16 on behalf of the school system. It is an information item since it is $5,000 or less per board policy 8220. The next gift was to Northeastern Randolph Middle School, and on June 3rd, Anthony Roche, principal at the time of Northeastern Randolph Middle School, sent me an email regarding a gift given to a school by the Grace Chapel Lions Club in the amount of $1,000. And this gift was designated to support the band program, and I accepted this gift on June 4 on behalf of the school system. Again, information item since it was $5,000 or less per board policy 8220. And then the last gift in your packet tonight, June 9, had an email from Angela Harris, principal of Ramsey Elementary School, regarding a gift given to her school by Community Baptist Church in the amount of $500. And this gift was given to the school to use for the end-of-year luncheon for staff. And I accept this gift on June 9 on behalf of the school system. And again, the gift is information item since it's $5,000 or less. So as always, we appreciate all the support we get from community members with these gifts. And board members, any questions on any of those gifts? Mr. Cook, I'm going to put this back in my place before I get to the next item, okay? Okay, as Mr. Cook alluded to, want to share some information with you tonight. Who has the, can you put that up better? Before you do, I'm going to go ahead and pass out a couple documents for the board members, for any document for the board members. Board members, I have a copy of the document I'm going to just talk through tonight. Okay, so I would be wrong to not start out with, there's been a lot of hands in this work last 2 months, really. I mean, we've been working at this from, obviously Marty's been very involved because his role as finance officer. Dale Brinkley left my office one day and I said, we've got to have this amount of money, it's got to change. And with some things, and he went to work. Andre's been involved in HR. Tammy's been involved. What can we do and what can't we do? What are we going to be able to do? Sheena, Larry, everybody here. Probably the only one who might have avoided a little bit of was Anthony by coming on June 16, but he's been involved in conversations and what's going on. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about where we are. Obviously, technology staff, Michael Sugg, has been involved as well. Can I use this to mouse so I can kind of know where we're going? So I don't start talking and y'all looking at one thing and I'm looking at another. So, back in Memorial Day weekend, we had a lot of discussion, board members, and I appreciate all the discussion and all the feedback we've had. Memorial Day weekend, I told you we were shooting for $3.3 million in reductions. And we're not there, but we're pretty close. And we're closer than we might think right now. But I think within another week or two, we'll be clear there for another couple weeks. But, so one of the things we've been looking at is where can we find some reductions? Where can we have some pressing issues. When you saw our local budget, back in May, we pulled over $900,000 from our fund balance to be able to close out this budget year. I'm very pleased to tell you that that $900,000, only $800,000 of it was used. Just it's in the amendment tonight. Well, that amendment's already come, but only $800,000 of it was used in Fund 2. Also, we pulled out of Fund 4, which capital outlay, we pulled $250 over to close the year out, or $450, and we only used $250 of it's not spent. Let me say that. So $100,000 current expense was not used. $250 of the capital outlay was not used. So that speaks volumes to what staff's doing. So how do we deal with this? The first thing we thought was we got to get to, if you remember, as an email I sent you yesterday, in our Fund 2, we had $1.372 million in our base Fund 2 budget for 25-26, and then we had $1,028,000 in our Fund 8 budget for 25-26. So that's where our $3.3 million came from. Trying to cover that $900,000 we pulled over in May, plus what we knew was in our 25-26 budget, those two figures, 1.372, Fund 2, $1,028,000. I'm proud to tell you that right now, we have accounted for $3,086,306.80, and that's what this document's going to show you. So let me go through this a minute with you. One of the things I told you one day was I wanted to do as much as we could to do what we could. We obviously don't want to cause people to lose positions, and we have not at this point. Very proud of that. I'll talk to you about where we go after tonight, but for right now, where's the $3,086,306.80 come from? Well, we first have eliminated some vacant positions. So they're vacant. There's payroll specialist, textbook clerk, printing specialist, half position, technician in the technology department, special projects, construction manager, 2 ESL teacher positions, 2 RTC teacher positions. Whereas those figures are a little bit more than the other one, we're looking for every dime we can cut. We're going to be real, we're going to be transparent. That $1,631.57, you may remember back in the middle of, end of December, we did a little bit of reorg on the finance department. We had a benefit specialist, individual retire, a person in that position. Somebody else moved to that position, and the difference of what we did not spend was $1,631.57. So it counts. We also have 5 classified staff member positions that will not be filled, $220,000. So that whole section right there, vacant positions eliminated, $834,635.22. Now, there's 3 sections to this report. The next section, somebody may say, when you deal with budget, some people say, well, that's not big enough. Why did you touch that? Well, every bit counts. So miscellaneous personnel items. We reduced costs, local money, and some principal salaries due to some principal changes, $33,825.26. We also had a reduction in local money used on the Executive Director of Administrative Services. Quite frankly, we had a change. And you've got different years of service, which can affect that. $8,796.88. And then here's one, David Cross. He comes to see me last week. So when I say everybody in this right up here, I'm leaving somebody out. I know I am. But David Cross comes. He wants to talk to me. And so I don't know if you remember me saying CTE and EC are in their own pot of money, in ESL. I can't take CTE money and use it on non-CTE stuff, but I can use non-CTE money on CTE. We talked about that, we've had a lot of non-CTE positions, CTE, just like EC. I can't pull EC money over to pay for non-EC stuff, but I can go the other way. So David comes in the other day and says, look, I can move a position back my CTE money now. That's where that $43,433 comes from. So again, those areas are they're separate. So if David cuts his CTE monies, it's really not going to help us overall in our budget. Just like if Brooke cuts her CTE money, cuts her EC money, she can't turn around and give us that help for a budget cut. Now, it might help us indirectly because she might be able to move some of what we're paying for her to her budget. That's how it helps us. So there's the personnel items that are miscellaneous. You may not have thought about them. So again, that $86,055.14 is real. I'd rather have it counting than not have it counting. So, now here's where some real interesting work, and I just, I have a lot of, I told you back May 12th, we had a work session. We went back through the displacement process. I'm very proud of what's going on there. We've got everybody placed. We're not overhired. Then we had the closing of the virtual academy. We said we'd get everybody placed. We got everybody placed. We're posting jobs. We're filling the rest of the jobs. Very proud of that. We're not overhired. We're not going to be overhired. We're not going to get in that position. So, non-personnel items. So here's Michael Sugg. Dale Brinkley was involved because he was involved. Dale, correct me if I'm wrong, before you came to executive director, some of this stuff was going on. I don't understand all this stuff, so I'm not going to get too far in it. But there's a difference in an analog telephone line and a digital telephone line. And I'm glad there is, because it's costing us $52,184.52 less to have digital lines in central office. Now, there's been some other stuff that's gone on at the school level, but I can't count that in there because it's not new savings. It was happening in previous years and it's already been recycled, so you can't count that. This stuff, this transition just happened. So Michael was told that $52,184.52 is off limits. Okay? So staff development funding. You may hear some of this, but it'd be great if we could do all the staff development we wanted to fund. We're not going to be able to. We got some budget. We're not unlike anybody else. We're going to get out in front of this. We're pulling $45,000 out of our staff development budget for next year. All right. Removal of unused telephone lines on school campuses. And again, this is the analog telephone lines, the digital telephone lines. Well, we just removed 41, Michael. Is that correct? Michael's out in the hallway. We just closed down 41 unused lines. That gave us a savings of $19,534.44. And then here comes Dale Brinkley. He probably wasn't real happy sitting in my office in April. Very proud of this work as well. What can we do about our custodial contract? We have to have it. We can't find people. We went to that when we had to a couple of years ago. I think 2.5 years ago, Dale, maybe 3. I can't remember exactly when. So what we discovered, they've been great partners. And we just said, we've got to reduce our cost. So what you know is this. We've been running, y'all remember this, we've been running a hybrid program for custodial services all this time. We didn't take anybody's job from them when we went to the custodial group. We've had people who were our custodians who are our employees. We've had people who were their employees. We committed to that. But what you also have to know, so one way you could have done that contract several years back when we went to it, we could have gone in and said, we have every custodian, and if they wanted to work with us, they had to go through the custodial group. And they wouldn't receive benefits. But we chose to do something different. We chose to work with natural attrition, which is what you guys have. We've done that many times. But Mr. Cutler, we did that years ago and other things when you were on the board before. We're accustomed to this. Let's don't create an issue if we can help it. So what happened in April was Dale got talking to our custodial contract group, and we had 14 long-term sub situations that we moved over to the company. So every time we take a job off of our books and put on theirs, we save $16,000 for each job. Obviously, you can figure we're not paying, we don't cover benefits, we're paying the rate. Okay, so that's what number 4 is, $404,000. We also said at that point, up until now, we have said until April of 2025, when a custodian job opened at a school, and it was one of our employees, we gave the principals 30 days to try to replace it with one of our employees, and we stopped that. We're in a budget situation, we can't continue, we've got to move forward, and quite frankly, Andre, I don't think we're having a ton of success finding our people, but anyway, so we're moving on. So then we had a substitute issue, that's the other side of that 404,000. We discovered there was a distinct difference when you got a substitute custodian for a custodian from the contract company versus a substitute for one of our employees. There's a distinct difference in the hourly rate. So at this point, we're gonna watch the use of substitute custodians tremendously, and we started that in April. We let the principals know that then. So they'll go through Dale, we'll look and see if the custodian's out. Obviously, if it's one that's with the custodial group, they're gonna put somebody in, but if it's one of our employees, we're gonna look and see how long are they gonna be out before we go there, because there's a substantial cost, okay? Then after Dale got done with that, I was really excited, and then he comes around the corner and says, we just put 2.5 more custodian positions on the contract, there's 40,000 more. So, just so you know, we have a limit on how many we can put on that, our contract. So the next 5.5 positions that come open, that's one of the things we'll develop the next couple of weeks. The next 5.5 custodian positions that come open, that were our employees, will go to that contract, and it will save us another $88,000. Are we still paying for custodians? Yes, we are. But we were gonna pay for the custodian salary when they were our employee. So that's apples to apples. But we're taking out the benefits cost. So somebody's listening to this right now, and that sounds very, they don't like what Stephen Gainey's saying. But I can sleep well at night because we didn't take anybody's benefits from them. We waited to natural attrition, open those jobs up. And is it where we want to be? No. But we also know before we went with the custodial group, we had, Dale was about 30 custodian jobs open. We were really back during the pandemic, we were getting into a tight situation. So, Dale works very closely with our lawn service vendor. And so, here we go. Dale, go talk to our service provider. See what we can do. So we reduced our one round from 25,000 a round to 21,000, was 21,150, Dale, is that right?
Yes.
So that's where we are right now. We do a round a year, about 21 rounds as far as cutting everybody, that's a round. So we reduced that, that's $80,850. There's some more savings possibly there, depending on how the weather goes. I will give Dale credit, great relationship with the service provider. Sometimes it gets hot and grass doesn't grow. And we don't need to be cutting grass that's not growing. Or sometimes it rains so much you can't cut, you just can't do it. Or, Dale, we've had situations where it stayed cold later into the spring than normally. Dale's had a relationship of, we're not gonna start till, just hold on, don't start till we say. Now, do I know I love the grass being cut? I love my yard being cut. I love it, I love cutting grass. So do I know that somebody can drive by school and see grass higher than they like it, call in and complain, I didn't get that. I understand that, we'll deal with that. We're not gonna let it just go haywire, but there's $80,850. That's not a big number compared to $3,086,000, but it counts. So the next item, reduction in supplies. talked to Marty about this. I worked with 2 finance officers here, and the same conversations come up many, many times. And Marty was already seeing it this spring. You know, there's a time where we say you have to spend all your instructional money. And we're seeing a lot of things come in that deadline. And so we felt like there was some opportunity there. So we have reduced from $23 per kid to $21 per student. That's where that $29,660. And what I appreciate about Marty is it doesn't take, you know, we see $5,000, that's worth savings. $29,000 is worth saving, just like $245,000. Reduction in copiers, printers, $67,251.55. That's from one service provider, not both. We have contracts, we have printer copier contracts to different groups. Some schools are with one, some are with others, the way things have fallen out over the years. But we've already had a commitment from one of that much of reducing. And what they've done is they've readjusted what they call their print rate. I think it's called, let me see, make sure I'm saying the right word. Reassessment based on print volume, and they've gained a couple more of our schools. And their rates have allowed them to reduce our cost with them by $67,251.55. The number 9, closure of social emotional learning program at New Market. That one hurts, it hurts me, because the fall of 19, Tammy Laguerre and I met with service providers from all over. And we met with, you remember that Tammy was still at Ramsey, I asked her to come over. The whole purpose of the meeting was, I wanted to kick it off, and then when they started saying, I didn't want to be the third hand information, I turned it over, let Tammy talk about what she was seeing as money. But we can't continue with that program, it's got a lot of cost to it, $245,000. What people also don't know is on top of that was $115,000 that we got from Sand Hills every year, and then they merged with, when they had the mergers of the mental health groups, and so Trillium provided again this past year, $115,000. So that program actually, what's that, $360,000, count that 115. But we are not going to be able to continue that. I met with the staff individually, right at the end of the school year, whenever it was in school, met with them individually, told them what was going to happen. Thank you, Andre, and your staff. We've got them there again. We've had a couple of things, Mr. Cook, I appreciate your comments, because that's not an easy undertaking for HR to get all these people placed. But we've dealt with the virtual academy, we've dealt with displacements, and we've dealt with social emotional learning program, and everybody has been placed. The last one, you know, I have a right, wrong, or whatever it is, this is how I am, and I've always been towards this job. I believe in whatever we get, we should be saying thank you to the commissioners. I'm just thrilled that they got our continuation costs the other week, because I was afraid we weren't going to get all of that, and that would have been another budget cut. But we have to have that, y'all know that. And I know that was not an easy day when y'all did number 10, closing the virtual academy. $1,182,136. A little bit different. I think we were talking 1.3 million, but there was some Title I money at that school, and there was some I-Learn money there that couldn't be factored into the reduction. So Title I money folded back to Ashley Barr for her to use out with that school. I think it was about $70,000, actually, is that right? Something like that. So, if you look at the bottom, here we are. Those are the 3 sections added up, $3,086,306.80. We're not done. So I just told you, I think I mentioned to you in your email yesterday, $213,693.20 is where we're short of our goal right now. I just referenced an $88,000 add to it. Whenever it may take us 2 or 3 months to get that $88,000 added to it, because it may take us that long for 5.5 positions. Because we have a limit on you've had a limit every year on that contract, how many people we can put on that contract. And so we're with 5.5 positions away from hitting that limit, but they've been working with us. So I tell you that, I just, again, whether anybody agrees with it or not, I'm gonna be protective of staff, I'm gonna be protective of the board, I'm gonna be protective of our students. And so, all these things on here, other than the closure of Virtual Academy, we've been able to put inside without any, board action, and I appreciate your support and your allowing me to go with this and work through this. I appreciate that. Because my goal all along has been, I went to HR job in January of '09, and the recession was just crushing budgets. And, we were able to move people around, and we've been able to do that as well again this time. So I'm very proud of that, and proud of the staff's efforts to do that. And I've seen the looks on their faces. I know there's stuff that's out there, but I've seen the looks on my staff's faces. I saw from the first meeting in April with Dale in my office of, I need you to go to this vendor, and we gotta get this down. Next thing I know, he's got a meeting scheduled. Andrea, don't let anything get filled until we get these people in place. And phone calls, people wanting, I need to feel that, and Andrea doing all she could, we're gonna get there, we're gonna get there. But we can't go there until we get these people placed. Marty the other day said something to me Thursday, and something came off, what was it, Monday morning? I opened something Monday morning, and it's like unbelievable. It was a check that we got that was, the timing of it was unbelievable, to be honest with you. I walked over to Marty, I said, I know you already got this in your revenue. And I was so excited. He said, no, I don't. He grabbed, he took it. I didn't get to see it. How much it was, Marty? I do remember how much it was. Don't remember the cents on it, but I remember the dollars on it. So it was a revenue we get from Medicaid, was it not? And it was good. So at any rate, so I have that one addition.
No, you said that Medicaid?
Yeah, time when you're spent. It's time spent working with kids. Sure.
I'm just curious, so the state says we're no longer low wealth, but we get money from Medicaid because we're low wealth.
No, let me clear up the low wealth for a minute. Let me get to the low wealth in a second, because I want to make sure everybody out there is hearing the low wealth thing correctly. Because I can't thank Mr. Cook enough, because he's heard me fuss about this, and he probably don't want to hear me say low wealth again, or wealth, or either low, either one of those two words separately. But no, that space, if you look in our budget, we have 2 Medicaid line items in there. It's based on staff's time with certain students,
Right.
time spent, that's what, so we get that. And
Who, the students or the parents, whatever, the families qualify for Medicaid?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It's not, it has anything to do with the parents. It has something to do with it. It's service provided for kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But this came in, I forgot this, or if I either forgot or didn't know it. When they give us our amount every year, they hold back a certain amount to make sure they have 10%. Yeah, and so what came through the other day was a check with the accumulated 10%. So what,
For 2 years.
yeah, 2 worse, and 2 years worth. And I'm sitting there going, I honestly, I started opening the letter, I thought, oh, this is some kind of mail. I didn't even see anything in the return address that said anything, and I looked up at that check, I'm like, whoa, let me go see Marty. So anyways, but we have 2 line items in our local budget with that. So here's what I wanted, I'm not excited about any of this because on one hand, what I'm excited, this is tough stuff for us trying to, all of us want to move forward with things for kids, that's our job. But I am excited about the teamwork that's going on, because 2 months ago, we weren't looking at $3,086,306.80. We were at zero and just trying to figure out where we were going to go, and I appreciate all the feedback we've had exchanged back and forth. So I wrote to you the other day, we're going to keep working on these budget issues. There's $88,000 we're looking for. There's, if you kind of get technical here, is $3,086,000, $3,086,306.80. So how do we get to the remaining $213,693? Well, just told you we didn't spend 900,000, or 100,000 of the 900,000 we pulled out of fund balance. And so that adds in, and we're now covering those three areas of fund balance. So we're kind of back to zero to see where we go with the state. So let's talk about the state a minute, because yesterday in your email I wrote, we're still not out of the woods with the state. So, Mr. Burgess, we are going to get low wealth money. That's not the issue. The issue is, in April, Marty comes over and sees me and says, hey, we just got hit. We're losing $1.8 million in low wealth compared to what we got in 24-25. What's interesting, in 24-25, we went up. What's also interesting about 24-25 is during 24-25, we went from a tier 2 county to a tier 1 county. So that should, the logic of that says it helps us.
Right.
So Marty sees 1.8 million, about a week later, y'all remember we were talking over spring break, I'm looking at this grid that comes out, and I'm like, I don't know that I see 1.8 on these numbers. I think I see more. Well, a week later, it wasn't 1.8, they had revised it, and it was 2.4 million. So we're going to get low wealth money, but if something doesn't change, we're going to get $2.4 million less in low wealth money than we got in 24-25. There's our issue.
And tell everybody why we went to tier 1.
Well, I would say you go to tier 1 because you're, Mr. Cutler, you smile. So I would say you would go because of poverty, would you not? The assessment of poverty. That's why you would say the poverty, you know, but I can't explain how you go this way, or tier 1 here, but you get less. You would think going from tier 2 to tier 1, if anything, would keep you even, because we've been on a climb for several years now. Now, we lost, we lost in my first 6 years. We lost a ton of low wealth money. We just kept going down, and then it started coming back up. And when it started coming back up, we thought, well, this isn't real. Don't get excited, because next year it'll go back. You know, and like 1 year we lost 372,000. A couple of years later, we went up 743 at one time. And we said, this is short-lived. So I can't explain that. I'm pretty frustrated with that, is how we go from tier 2 to tier 1, yet we go down $2.4 million in funding. That doesn't make sense to me.
Also explain to everyone what low wealth is used for.
Low wealth is some of our most flexible money. We have 30 positions, 24, 25, we had 30 positions, all teacher positions on now. We have an assortment of positions. Low wealth is a very flexible use that, but when I first got here, we had 65 teacher positions on there. That's not the case. Part of what hurt that was we were going this way in our total funding for a long time, but it started coming up. But as it started coming back up, the cost of the teacher position went from like 45,000 to now last year 77,000 average cost of position. So we have some student advocates on there. We have some lead teachers on there. We have some lead teachers at high school, middle school level. We have clerical. There's some clerical on there. There's printer and copiers on there. So it's probably our last really flexible pot of money we have. So number one, this will be a game changer. And this is what, so we started out knowing that we had to do some things to write the budget. Because, I think I mentioned one time to you all back in May, you can only absorb so long. And every year I've been here, I've said, we've got a problem with transportation funding in North Carolina. We've got a problem with technology funding in North Carolina. We have a problem with EC funding in North Carolina. We have a problem with textbook funding in North Carolina. Now, the textbook funding, when I say that, I say, well, who's buying textbooks? Well, for the purpose of textbooks, you might be buying online materials or digital materials, but it's still the same thing. You gotta have money to do it. So to give you a point of reference, our special transportation cost, $786,000 2 years ago. Last year, $1,070,000. This year, $1.3 million.
Short.
Sure. No, total, but it goes somewhere. So we have to go somewhere and get that. As homeless foster EC, SELP comes off of it, so that's probably about $29,000 off of it. But when you hear school systems talk about transportation fund, it's not, there's very few ways to fix that in the current schedule other than, our current plan, other than to go, you've heard me, I'll say it, you've heard me talk about the tiered systems, about the only way you can go into that and come out even. But at any rate, EC, I mean, we have, when a child needs a one-on-one nurse, the child needs a one-on-one nurse. You can't just say, well, I mean, our job is to take care of kids. And, I tell a story about, it was 7 or 8 years ago, we had some situations appear like first week of school, we had no idea. Well, our job is to take care of kids. So Brooke has to go. We gotta go. We gotta take care of them. So I hate to say it that way, but those are 3 areas that continue to be kind of bugaboos, I guess. Maybe you won't call it that. I don't know if that's really a word or a phrase, but it's what I think it is. It's every year. Marty, which one are we gonna close last? Transportation or EC? And last week was tough. It was tough, and I left, I guess it was Monday night, thinking we may have to, you saw the 900,000 fund balance, which got pulled in May so Marty could work to close the budget. I thought the other night, I was gonna be sending you an email for a week, or for tonight, that it was gonna be 500,000 or 600,000 more, and then I opened that piece of mail Monday. Or Tuesday, whenever I opened it. So, I'm really proud that we have cleared up. Somebody asked me back in Memorial Day weekend, so the 3.3 million, y'all remember I said we need to go from 2.6 to 3.3, somewhere in there. You remember that? It was on the email, and we were trying to look at where we could go. So, that, when we get to 3.3 million, we're gonna get there. We will have covered that 900,000 that we pulled back in May to close the budget. We will have covered the $1,372,000 that Marty has in our budget approved fund balance for our Fund 2, full fund balance Fund 2 for 25-26. And then Fund 8, Marty had in our base budget $1,028,000, Fund 8 for 25-26. So it will clear out because of these cuts over the year. We will be fine. What we're not fine with is we've got a little moving target right now from Rob. We got to figure out what it is, and we're going to close this thing out on June 30, which is Monday, and then we're going to start looking at where we got to go. And our children and our staff are going to be in front of our mind. But I can't tell you this next amount is going to get tough. It's going to get tough, and that's very frustrating to me. Very frustrating because, and I know it is to you, because see if I have anything else. But we will continue to be creative. We've been down this road before in some things, sometimes not to this extent, but I don't give it what we're about either, to give away what we're about, it's still the system, so.
But Dr. Gainey, the thing is too, on this budget reduction plan, I think what you've done so far is very, very good, you and your staff, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure all the board members do as well. I knew that low wealth money would be that last thing. So I just feel like what you've done so far, I was more concerned about that, making sure we could at least get that covered.
Mhm.
Because we know the low wealth money is out there. We just don't know how to react to it yet.
And I spent this afternoon in some conversations about it, and, yeah, at least our focus now is what to do about the it's really 2.5, it's 2.485 million. So our focus now is where do we go there? So, and this isn't, I've had conversations with staff members, and I know they haven't all been excited about every conversation, but they understand the big picture.
Another question, who determines the tier level though?
That would be, I'm assuming that's set in Raleigh based on, I think property value probably will. I can't say property value drops it because, I would say probably some kind of tax collection amount. I don't know what the real formula is. Now this has all stirred up a question. I mean, I'll probably get some emails tonight when I say this, but there's been some questions. What I'm hearing out of Raleigh are questions about the formula. But that's, so I think that's gonna be looked at, but looked at at expense of kids and staff for $2.85 million. I mean, that's.
I can't remember the number, but it was just, I was astonished about this gambling money that they have gotten. And I'm thinking, why are we short on anything? I mean, for that kind of money that's coming in, that's, huh?
Supplanting.
Okay.
It's
Moving
building some
money around that
yeah.
did have funding source at one time from the state.
I would say, I was worried about the lottery money when it was coming out. Was it gonna be additional money for public schools, or was it gonna be filling in? And I think you probably could find somewhere in the middle. some things.
Another sad thing that I found out, gosh, I've asked a lot of questions. I did figure out one thing. I was in Raleigh, I would be in serious trouble because I would be on the news. Representative throws 3 people through a table and right in the, that's the fact. I mean, I couldn't stand for crooked, but anyway, each senator, each representative, imagine they have a Christmas tree over here, okay? And they can take like 10 or 12 items off of that Christmas tree and they can give it to certain, okay? That's just how it works. Like, and they do that. I mean, you take our representative or something, they may give like a certain club $15,000. They may give like City, Trinity, Archdale, Asheboro. They get a certain amount of money. I know Archdale's getting like $7 million, okay? That's what Archdale's getting. And because they got a call, look guys, you haven't filed for your money, you're gonna lose it if you don't get it today. And the Ys can get, YMCA can get money. I mean, I know our local Y in Archdale got, I think 50,000 extra because they needed a hot tub or sauna put in. But I mean, there's always something there for somebody if they ask the right questions or they in the right group or whatever. But the problem I have, and it's getting worse every year, the public school system, it's almost like we want to do the public school system in because they're the last ones, they're constantly getting hit. Now you can find money and find help for a lot of these other things, but like right now, they're going home, they're going to come back at the end of July or whatever. You know what, they know we need a mini budget, they know not just Randolph County, there's other counties too. The low wealth need help, need to freeze that. But you know what, I wouldn't put any money on that happening. I mean, I thought it was gonna happen, but after my conversations today, I think our people's worked hard to try to make it happen. But, or our representatives, but it's just a bad situation. I mean, I'm not sure what they think, you're supposed to do with I mean, I don't care where people send their kids, that's their choice, okay? I agree with that. But the public school system, somebody's gotta take care of the rest of the kids, you know? Not every kid has the perfect opportunity or the choice, you know, they can't make those decisions. And just like you said a while ago, the transportation, I mean, there again, that's more money we have to find, and that's a hit. I think it's time that,
And not only find the money, but they're the ones telling us.
yeah, they're the ones
We've
telling us
got to
what to
provide the
do.
transportation.
You know what, they're not helping us, by golly, I'm
Always.
ready to challenge them on some
Extra.
things. By golly, if you're not gonna help
Yeah.
us, we're gonna quit.
Exactly.
We're gonna quit being your taxi, we're gonna quit being your little hotel, we're gonna quit being your little guinea
That's
pig.
what it makes you
And
do.
Well, it's
It's
kind of
time
like
to-
the 62.
I'm tired of it, I'm
$million
tired of getting
that
the screw job
went
from,
For athletics,
the
that went
government.
to 18 counties.
Yeah.
Like, how did they pick those 18 counties at
I
62?
mean, they don't care, I mean,
Athletics.
it's just a
That's
mess.
still the puzzle to me.
Well, and board members, I also want to tell you something. I know you read the emails
Oh, I'm
during the
sure
week.
you'll know answer.
With all the
That's
development,
statement.
don't want to leave this individual out because, you know, I said, okay, we pulled the fund balance, $450,000 out of capital outlay fund balance, which again, that doesn't help that 3.3 cut. But as this afternoon, Marty said, well, we were able to, we only spend 200 of that thousand, so it's 250 is getting to stay. And Larry's made some hard decisions, and so there's another 175 that won't get spent this year in his budget. But what people don't realize is happening to us, if you start thinking about the emails you've seen from Larry, I can't tell you how many water lines we've had to cut, how many power issues, and we have to go do them. I mean, and a lot of times, no one can tell us who did it, because the subcontractor's already down the road and gone. And so, who think's paying that bill? So, we're getting hit from a lot of sides. And, I'm just really proud of, I mean, I looked at, when Marty gave me these numbers today, I said, well, you know, at the end of the day, we pulled very little out of Larry's fund balance and capital outlay. But thank goodness, because we don't know what's coming next. I mean, we could, like, if he gets up and walks out of here, I'm gonna assume it's probably a water line or a sewer line or something's been hit somewhere, and so, I'm just saying, this has been a collective effort, and I'm missing the directors, because I don't know what conversations they've been in. I hope our directors and our principals are listening, because I don't know what conversations they're gonna be. But I do appreciate the, flexibility to let us run and do what we need to do. I can tell you, we're gonna always do everything we can with the money we have, take care of kids and take care of our staff. And I'm not telling you it's gonna make everybody happy all the time, but, you know, I love for us to receive that 0.5% supplement for our staff. But I also know the commissioners couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And we're lucky we got 1,067,000, because we originally weren't gonna get that, and that would have been another budget cut on top of the 3.3. But they get it, so I appreciate that. But what I really appreciate is this document right here. Any way you look at it, that's real. That's real. And that's step one for us to deal with all this budget. It's real. It's not a what if, it's real. So, I'm proud of that. Not happy we're having to do it, but I'm proud of it. So.
You know what I was thinking about I think this was last Friday night, I was riding down 421, going through like Pleasant Garden, you know, to the mega site. And my gosh, I mean, the roads look like we're building, like it's like New York City, you know, big city and all this fancy highway and all. And I was just thinking, by golly, I don't know where all that money comes from. I'm sure it's federal, it's state and all, but no problem finding that money, is it, to make all that happen? But, you know, all that to, I don't know.
One other point of reference, board members, when I talk about you can't absorb so long, at the end of the 13-14 school year, we felt like we had to reset our budget. We got $1,000,000 out of our budget. That was kind of voluntary. I don't know if you remember that, Mr. Cook, y'all were on the board at the time. And so that's kind of where Marty and I were with the original discussion, I guess, with mid-year, kind of, we got to reset some things. We're going, and I think the first dollar figure we have in our mind was 1.6 million, right? And so that's a pretty long time to keep going like that, and so, it is what it is. We'll be there, we're gonna have school, we're gonna open school when we're supposed to, and we're gonna have school, we're gonna take care of kids and staff. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
If it's a surplus, I mean, you should be good with this. State of surplus, right? What do you think? I don't know.
They gotta get a rainy day filled up, and they had to spend all a lot of money on that. So that's more money gaming thing.
All right.
Good evening, board members. Tonight I am presenting the student assignment reports for the fourth quarter. As a quick reminder, this report outlines two primary areas. The first is the number of student reassignments within our system, and the second is admissions into and releases from the Randolph County School System. So we're looking at the table. Each school is listed individually in the school-wide district, or the district-wide totals at the bottom of the chart. So we move left to right, you have the name of the school, each school's capacity, the enrollment based on a 10-month reporting, which is the last day of school on June 10th. You'll also notice the pre-K numbers were included for the 6 elementary schools, marked with an asterisk, Level Cross, Liberty, Southmont, Tabernacle, and Trindale. So, following that, to the right, we have the capacity percentage for each school based on that ADM. And per policy, we do not approve reassignments or admission requests to schools at 95% capacity or higher. So schools highlighted in yellow are approaching that threshold on the report. We don't have anybody at 95% capacity at this moment. The next column is labeled MU, which reflects the number of mobile units at each school site. Which is not changed at the bottom of that column. See the current district total is 80 mobile units. Moving into the next two columns, these represent the number of students reassigned within our school system. The column with the plus represents students domiciled within Randolph County Schools, but they're reassigned to another school outside of their attendance area. And the column with the negative represents students who are domiciled for that school, but have been reassigned to another school within Randolph County School System. So at the bottom, those two numbers match because that shows the movement of students for that state within our Randolph County schools. So those numbers are always the same. And then looking at the totals at the bottom, again, that 980 students are students that are attending schools other than their assigned school. On the final three columns, the student releases from our system to other public school units. We do not require release to go to a charter school, private school, or home school, so those students that have gone to other public school units in North Carolina. And student admissions into Randolph County schools are students that are domiciled in another public school unit outside of RCSS, so we've admitted them into Randolph County schools. And the third column represents the net gain or loss for each school, with the total for the district down in the bottom right corner. So this corner, we're at a net loss of 66 students. To give some historical context, at this point last year in the fourth quarter, we recorded a net loss of 42 students.
And board members, thank you, Anthony. Anthony's really been digging into this, and I think this is the first step. I mean, he started his role June 16, but he's been digging into some of the other questions we've had raised about students, particularly in the UR Ridge Southwest zone, and we'll keep looking at that. But he's digging in to see, make sure he understands what he's seeing, and we've had some very frank conversations, and I've sent y'all some stuff as well. But we will continue to monitor that. Had some appeals come across my desk, and hadn't had anything appealed. I don't know if we'll have some that'll come here on appeal, but we've been dealing with those, and we're trying our best to make sure we can help build that population in Water Ridge. We're going to. So hadn't seen a whole lot though, to be honest with you. So, and the reassignment window ended May 15th. Is that right? The appeal window. I mean, the application for reassignment deadline was May 15th.
Yes, sir.
So things are settled down, but I will tell you, the month of July, typically, we get a little bit of activity then too.
Where do you see like random and elementary? I mean, where do most of those that are least, I wonder where they go? They go out of our school system? That's
That's
a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the same boat, you better be glad that we're minus 54 in the arch still, because if all of them had been there, we'd be at over capacity.
Well, and so way back in 14-15, the first quarter of 14-15, we had some student assignment rules that were put in place in January of 14. So first quarter of 14-15, we were losing 153 more students than we were bringing into Michigan. That was part of what spurred all this on. Mr. Cutler, Mr. Cook, you probably remember this. We were losing kids at a big rate to other school systems on release. So, but you're exactly right, Mr. Lanier. If those 54 students had stayed,
I know
we would have been in this.
A lot of leaving.
So,
Is the 75 positive at Hopewell, is that still the Spanish? Or just new?
75, I think there's a lot of, I would guess there's a lot of employee child too. I don't know that it's not all Spanish person.
A lot of teacher kids go
Yeah.
there. Is that percentage still, will there still be both mobile units
Yeah.
in place again?
Yes, we won't move them. I mean, the cost to move a mobile unit now is about, what, 55?
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
They're not
I
gonna
mean,
class in them next time.
you know, the elephant's always been in the room that the daycare, and I know that daycare's only one of its kind, but, you
But the
know,
daycare rooms again
The
Huh?
the
are
daycare?
smaller,
yeah,
a couple of them are smaller than if you could put a class in there.
yeah, you could. That's what I heard.
We won't, I mean, just moving trailers around, I was gonna say this
That keeps
too,
a lot of teachers in.
because Larry's been working really hard at looking at our leased trailers and trying to figure a way to minimize, we have 11 leased trailers still, Larry, and trying to minimize the costs on that, and he's been working very hard at that.
How about
So-
the 2 mobile units on Braxton Craig?
They just haven't been moved, everything else has been moved, but just nowhere to, Larry, I don't know. I don't know
They
where to
belong
put
to
them.
us.
Yeah, we own the motor, Braxton Grading, so.
They're just sitting there.
Cheaper to store them there.
Is there a bathroom in mobile units or not?
No.
They're not.
Mm-mm.
It's been there, Mr. Cutler, for a while. I mean, ever since we overtrained the middle, we've had those two there.
Is there any way on this form, like the reassignment negative, releases negative, that those numbers will be in parentheses or have negative in front of it? Can we do
Oh,
that?
from a visual, so
Yeah,
just
from
being
a
able to
visual
visualize
thing,
it, to see when you're
Oh,
scrolling.
so just putting the negative in front of
Negative 67,
67?
just like on the end where the net is
Yeah.
minus
Yeah.
54.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Just remember, this report always catches me because, remember those two columns are gonna balance at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I get looking at it, and I think, okay,
Uh-huh.
well, New Market Elementary should balance, well, it's not gonna balance up there in the middle of the chart, but it's, I don't see why we, man, out for one day, but
And is this chart is just for like our visual, like this doesn't go anywhere else out, like it doesn't go to the state, like it's not something that's
No, it's just
reported,
for
it's
us.
just for us,
Well, they
right?
could pull it, because it's
Yeah.
on the public agenda, but we don't send this in.
Yeah.
We may send this information in for something in a different format they may ask for, but we don't upload it. I mean, they can grab it, because it's out there now, all around there.
Is that group, have you guys had any more meetings with the group that's like doing the study or?
Dale, they're still collecting information, we're getting close to them being done, but Dale and Dove's been with them, and they've been collecting information.
Do you foresee any, I mean, you know, like, I'll use Trinity, Wheatmore. You know, when Wheatmore opened, the big deal was, oh my gosh, they have 100 more students in Trinity. And now you look at it, it's like,
Yeah.
it's flipped.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's no way.
And, so I guess,
Just across the building.
you know, I guess when those lines are drawn, everything to the right, of 62 and to the left, and it'll probably catch up again, as you see a lot of building. It'll catch up. I guarantee it'll catch up.
But that's,
But I'm not sure with everything, the way it's building. It's gonna be interesting, isn't it?
but that's
How
the
you-
beauty
How
of
you fix that?
That's the beauty of the group, because, you know, right now, if you went up there, I would tell you, part of Highway 62 south, or, yeah, I guess it was south, if you're going south from, towards the Sheets, is that south?
Mhm.
I would say the way Trinity High School is going, you might say those houses need to eventually go to Wheatmore High School. But this group is also looking at plan developments and what's been approved. And you don't do that till we know what's going on down Tabernacle Church Road, because that plan's been cleared. You know, that's what they're looking for now. In fact, this morning Dale told me something I hadn't thought about. I've been thinking about the development right behind Teachy on that farm back off of Teachy, which is probably not us. But there's two developments out there that probably are all of us, would you not say, Dale? Out on, what's it, Cox?
Humbleville and Old Cox Road.
Old Cox Road. But then Crestview, he's learned about a proposal there on that corner where they built the new condos. Have y'all seen the one-story condos on Crestview? And you're coming down through Parkway and you turn, so on the opposite side of the road, there's something proposed there, and that's the kind of stuff that's gonna help us.
That's the one that the
Is
council.
there anything like in the farmer district, look like there any building coming?
I don't remember seeing anything. Seth and I and the rep, we've met with all the municipalities, the planning departments. So they've got all the information, the, you know, proposed developments, approved developments, and now they're just kind of going through all that data.
It's so pretty down there. You would think people would want to just get out. But I just do park.
Most
We're on the
recent,
land and they ain't gonna
Yeah.
sell it.
most recent was an addition to Farmwood out in the farmer.
I hate to be the negative one. Actually, maybe I don't. But anyway, and nothing about, you know, the studies. I'm sure studies are great. We spend a lot of money on studies. And I'm trying to think the last time we had a study that turned out to be true years later. There was a study put out when they were built UR Middle School about this is where it needs to be because this is where it's going to happen, and it turned out the study was wrong. We had a study, I guess, done for lines between Wheatmore and Trinity and all that kind of stuff, and it turned out that, you know, there's always all this growth going up there in Wheatmore, and turns out it seems like it's over in Trinity. A few years ago, I remember saying that, oh, CERMS is going to explode in growth because of all this stuff going on, and has done nothing but shrink in population. So I'm looking forward to this study, that this one's going to be one 3 years from now, later we're going to say, man, that one was right on, it was spot on. So I hope it is. So, but if not, I'll point out that one was wrong too.
But Fred, I think that's a good point, and the thing is, I think about when you're talking about ERA and all that,
Yeah.
think about that time period. There was
Yeah.
no parent choice of schools
Yeah.
during that time.
You didn't have the charter school
No,
push.
you didn't have a.
So that would be an interesting
I know,
thing to
there's
see,
there's
too.
there's
Just
more
one
stuff
more
that's,
piece
yeah,
of
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Because you said they're not in this.
And I'm not,
No, because they just have to go and roll down there. So they
Yeah.
have to
Right.
do like a reassignment. That's right.
Yeah.
You're right, I mean, there's gonna be something.
That was built, that was open right before that started.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Yep.
Okay, at this time, we need a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Can we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Um,
Opposed? Motion carries. We're gonna move to the action items now. Debbie Sharon. Welcome back.
Thank you.
She missed us so much she
Didn't
came
stay
back.
away.
Good evening, board members. Tonight, I'm excited to bring to you the academically and intellectually gifted AIG plan for the 2025-2028 school years. As you know, the legislation of Article 9B tasks us with identifying and serving students, as well as developing this plan every 3 years. This plan was created with input from a wide variety of stakeholders. We held focus groups with principals, teachers, parents, lead teachers, counselors, multiple groups getting feedback on our current plan, as well as taking survey information that we gained from parents, students, and staff as well. So equity and excellence is a theme in this plan. Currently, we serve performing students, at potential students, and we're always working to recognize and develop the talent of all of our students in Randolph County. So the plan has 6 standards and 43 practices, and it is a living document. Standard 1 is all about fair and equitable student ID and addresses underrepresented populations in the practices. Standard 2 is about comprehensive programming, which we look at talent development programs and extracurricular programs as well. Standard 3 is about differentiated curriculum and instruction and how we differentiate to meet the needs of our students, the academic, the intellectual, and the social emotional needs of all our students, to support them and help them reach their full potential. Standard 4 is about personnel and professional development, and that looks at retaining the teachers that we do have that have certification and trying to have more teachers with certification, as well as provide professional development to all our teachers, whether they teach AIG or not. So we look at that. Standard 5 is about partnerships with the community and stakeholders, and based on our survey results, we have increased communication efforts to make sure parents are aware and understand the processes of how gifted works. And then standard 6 is all about program accountability, and that's how we monitor and implement the plan and look for how it's being, well, I lost it right there, fidelity of the plan. So once you approve the plan and once it's signed, we'll submit it to DPI by July 15th and for their comments and their feedback. So on behalf of the 1,940 gifted students in Randolph County School System and all of the talented students that we have here in Randolph County, I ask that you approve this plan. Any questions?
All right. Any questions? Discussion? Okay, so we need a motion. I gotta make sure I can say it correctly.
Maybe we can get one of these gifted
Get
students.
one of those academically intellectual. I know what you're thinking, Larry Chilton. I'm not. He's sitting over there looking. I can just feel it. I can feel it. So you're about as far as intellectually gifted as there is. It hurts coming from you. I'm just a common man, if you will. Okay, so I need a motion to approve the RCSS academically, intellectually gifted AIG plan. I always called it the AIG plan, you know, and now I know what it really means. But anyway, the plan for the 2025 through 2028. It's a 3-year plan, guys. All right.
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You got your approval, thank you. Appreciate you coming back to see us.
Thanks. Yeah, that's right. That is right.
Okay, so moving on to Mr. Chilton.
And I'm proud.
He also is academically gifted intellectually.
No, I'm afraid not, but I am proud of it. I appreciate it. So, board members, I bring you tonight a very needed upgrade to the power grid that Duke Energy is proposing. Moving forward with the plan to get the existing main line that serves eastern Randolph and the surrounding community out of a patch of woods and pasture that in a power outage situation requires them to bring in a tracked machine to access the area that sets the poles, bucket truck on tracks basically. So very prone to outages, so very excited that they are proposing to move that line over to the road, eastern Randolph Road. But to do that, they're going to need an easement on our property, which would include setting about 5 poles up through the section that we own. So very much needed, and do recommend approval of this. Answer any questions if you have any.
that section 264 in the school? Is that where that section's at, or?
It's Eastern
It's-
Randolph
it-
Road, right?
Eastern Randolph Road.
Yeah.
Y'all can, I don't know if you have my stuff up there, you scroll the map,
Oh, yeah,
one more page,
Of course it doesn't.
and that's the one not gonna load, but anyway, yes, it's just shy
There it
of,
is.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the line now, let me go there. Take my mic. All right, so, scroll back up this way. Back. All right, so the line down, is just shy of the intersection. It goes up through this patch of woods. Here's the proposed route, and this is the proposed, our corner, and the proposed line come on back. All right, so right there, this is the section we own, which would be 5 poles. The actual 75.5 acre tract that the school sits on is titled to Randolph County, so they'll have to be given an easement for these poles.
Okay.
So, anyway, very much needed, and hopefully will help with the power outages, and y'all won't have to get emails from me
Especially
if the power.
with bad weather.
So,
You know, I'm pretty sure I can get you a motion on this. Do you think maybe you could, mention something to Duke Energy if these board members get a little break in their power bill these hot days and through the summer months? I mean, I'm sure we could make a deal.
If they heard your comment
This
earlier,
is a
she was
joke.
at loss.
She was gonna get me on that. All right, so we need a motion to approve the Duke Energy easement at Eastern Randolph High School.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. I was joking, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Just making it clear for the record.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry. Mr. Brinkley, you're back.
Okay, board members, a revision to the 25-26 school calendar is being recommended to allow for the early release of all schools in the school system at 12:30 p.m. On October 9 and February 5th for the upcoming school year, and that's to be used for school-based professional development and work with professional learning communities for staff members. Current copy of the 25-26 school calendar is attached for reference. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Board members, this falls with the idea that we started years ago with when the letters training was going on. We were able to do some early release days for half of the big long letters training days for the elementary teachers, and trying to provide some opportunity where all the training doesn't happen on staff members' time. Obviously, last winter was a little difficult, and we, probably the first time in probably 5 or 6 years ago, we were worried about our hours, and we made it through it. Remember, we took one of those early releases 12:30 back, but we just felt like that doing 4 again was probably not something we need to do with what we came off the winter last year. But Tammy Lear has shared, she and Sheena, that there was some very good, strong stuff going on these days. So, you know, hate to reduce it, but also hate to take it away completely, knowing that there was value seen at the school level. And they send in plans to Tammy and Sheena and what they're gonna do. And so the last year was if I remember right, Tammy and Sheena, the first year where they planned their whole 4 days. But the year before, it was 2 days we planned, 2 days they planned, but they were very strong on the use of them by the schools.
So like in our, you know, earlier in the budget reduction plan, we reduced $45,000 for staff development. And Debbie talks about, you know, standard 4, the increasing staff development, or providing staff development, not being increased, but providing, and then this. So where did that $45,000, where did we cut that?
We had a budget we have a budget line item for staff development, and so we just cut from that. Not all of it, we didn't take it all.
Right.
So there again.
Is it just, I mean, is it, I understand it's just a line item there, but is it, how are we cutting that as far as what, is it staff development project somewhere that's probably cut or anything? Or
They'll just have less money to use to plan out. And that kind of spurred on this too, Mr. Burgess, because honestly, to be very transparent with all of you, I was after last winter, didn't know we would continue, you know. But then when you're sitting here and you're gonna take 45,000 out of the budget, and you've got staff who've been monitoring what they're doing with these days. And so kind of changed, you know, probably last time leadership team heard me talk about it was, we're not gonna do it. But just as you continue to put that document, it was up there together,
Right.
and you know you're taking that amount away from that funding, and I just feel like we need to do something. But it's a line item that Tammy and Sheedy ought to divide up among directors, so there's be less to divide up, but that's.
We're gonna do more with less, is that what you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
we're
Okay.
doing, I guess it's, but you know, it's kind of like, it's like a lot of things, you know, like the supply thing, we have to be very careful, you know. Could you go take more out of supplies? Yes, but is that gonna be constructive with schools? And we've been watching that to see where we thought, and when we got to that piece, we felt like that from $23 to $21 a student was not gonna handcuff things a ton, you know.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve the revisions to the 2025-2026 school calendar.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Hey, before you do this, Sharon, I shouldn't say this, but Lord, I've been not the most professional tonight anyway, but, you know, on your work, somebody said this about you the other day, Dr. Daniel. That,
Oh,
you
that's
know.
not- Oh, this is something different. Okay.
Oh, yeah, but they were talking about him and the budget, you know, he said, he's worked really, really hard, and they said, trying to, you know, with Marty, but this isn't about you, Marty, this is about him, only him. They said, if you guys remember the old school Buffalo Nickels, you remember that? Do you remember Buffalo?
I'm not,
You're not that old. I know you've heard of a Buffalo Nickel, you probably had one, you probably still have it. But they said Dr. Dr. Danny could squeeze the buffalo out of a nickel. That's.
you know, I probably still have the first dollar I ever heard.
I'm going,
I probably have the first dollar.
I
Some
guarantee you
people at
got
home,
50 cents.
some people at home think I still have the first dollar at home.
You have done a good job, though, all you guys have done I mean, when, honestly, I said it before, but when you look around at some school systems right around us, I mean, it's amazing that we're even sitting here
I'm sure they're jealous.
having, I mean, it's a blessing,
No, they.
it really is. Okay, Sharon.
The Randolph County Board of Education will enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318, .11A 1, 3, 5, and 6, to preserve the attorney-client privilege, to discuss confidential personnel matters protected by North Carolina General Statute 115C-319.
Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, we're in closed session.
Yeah.
Ready?
We're live.
All right, so, we need a motion to approve the certified personnel report.
I need to recuse myself from this vote, please.
All right,
So moved.
Second.
all right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We need a motion to approve the classified personnel report.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We need a motion to approve the administrative appointment.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We need a motion to approve the administrative transfer.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say